crimes.
Isabel Jewell with that report. You're listening to the newsroom from the BBC World Service. For the chess community, the death of Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky last week was a tragedy, but the fallout in the days since has been ugly. Former world champion Vladimir Kramnik, who was publicly accused of bullying Naroditsky, has now hit back, saying he's the victim of an unbelievable campaign of hatred and denigration. The newsroom's Will Chalk has the story.
Yeah, welcome folks to another episode of the Speedrun.
With hundreds of thousands of followers across YouTube and Twitch, American Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky was clearly passionate not just about the game, but about teaching and helping others.
Awesome. Got a King's Indian. Okay, so we are facing a Fianchetto variation. Previously, we've only had the King's Indian in the speedrun a handful of times.
But in his final stream, 2 days before he was found dead, he was obviously distressed.
I know, just give me a few more games and then I'll go to sleep. I set a 2 a.m. curfew. What's the matter?
Daniel Naroditsky's family said his death was unexpected, but didn't reveal the cause. Many of his fans, though, were quick to point out that his distress had been building for a while, and blamed the accusations of fellow chess player Vladimir Kramnik. The Russian former world champion had repeatedly accused Naroditsky of cheating in online matches without offering any proof. Naroditsky denied cheating and, in an interview last year, said the allegations were part of a sustained, evil and absolutely unhinged attempt to destroy his life. It's a topic he came back to in his final stream.
But the problem is, ever since the Kramnik stuff, I feel like if I start doing well, people assume the worst of intentions.
After Naroditsky's death, some of the biggest names in chess came out in support of him. World number 2 Hikaru Nakamura said he could rot in hell. Arguably the game's biggest star, Magnus Carlsen, talked about the feud on one of his own streams.
I thought, yeah, the way he was going after Naroditsky was horrible.
He was the victim of a believable campaign of hatred against him. He said he'd filed a criminal complaint after serious threats and unprecedented attacks on his personality and that of his loved ones. Them like this is in sport, grief can bring rivals together.
Take long. As a young girl, she made her big screen debut in 1938, A Christmas Carol, before moving to the stage in the Broadway comedy For Love or Money, winning the first award for Best Newcomer.
Mom and Lassie.
But it was the 1950s when she became a household name in America, when she starred as Ruth Martin in the hit TV series Lassie.
Here, Lassie. Oh, I'm so happy to see you.
In the 1960s, Lockhart would again capture TV audiences as Maureen Robinson in Lost in Space, a role so successful that she later became an ambassador for NASA. There are just 196 groups of indigenous people living in voluntary isolation left in the world, but half of them may be wiped out in the next 10 years, according to the advocacy group Survival International. Stephanie Hegarty travelled to the Peruvian Amazon, where the Mashco hero lived.
Thomas Agnes de Santos, an elder in a small fishing village deep in the Amazon, took me to the forest clearing. He came face to face with his Mashco neighbor days before.
One man was standing right there, aiming an arrow at me. I don't know how long I was standing here. Then I started to run.
The Mashco are nomadic hunter-gatherer people who've avoided the outside world for over a century and rely on the forest for everything they need. In Thomas's village, they rarely saw them, until recently. In some parts of Peru, they live in areas protected by the government, but here, logging companies are allowed to operate, disturbing the forest the Mashco rely on. The NGO Survival International found evidence of 196 uncontacted groups across 10 countries in Asia, the Pacific, and South America. And they say that logging, mining, or drilling for oil threaten almost every one.
We need to stop all those things anyway. They threaten all of us.
Commonplace diseases such as cold and flu. Missionaries and social media influencers who seek them out also pose a serious threat.
Oh my gosh.
Population
That's how you know those things are evil.
Stephanie Hegarty
being that type of
While we've
missionary or
been
social
on
media
the
influencer.
air, President Trump has been in
Well, any
Malaysia
kind of missionary.
at that ASEAN summit, presiding over the signing of a
Christianity
peace
is
deal
getting
between
replaced by the Church of
Thailand
Judas.
and Cambodia. The latest
And part of the thing
from
that Church of Judas does,
Kuala
the opposite of
Lumpur. Donald
Christianity,
Trump has made
is
it clear that
evangelism.
for him, he says, business
Do
trumps
anti-evangelism and try to
war.
restore
When
the
Thailand
cultures
and
that have
Cambodia
been threatening
ended
for
hostilities
centuries.
back in July, that ceasefire came shortly after Mr. Trump warned their war would endanger their respective trade deals and tariff negotiations with the US. And just a few minutes ago, we were watching as trade agreements between the leaders of those two countries were being signed. Donald Trump could be heard saying that the agreements were a great deal for both countries as he signed them. Full details on the BBC News website, bbcnews.com. Plenty more, as always, in the Global News Podcast, which is made by the same team behind this programme. For now, though, thanks for listening to The Newsroom.
Distribution of the BBC
Thanks.
World Service in the United States is made possible by American Public Media, producer and distributor of award-winning public radio content, engaging audiences, creating meaningful experiences, and fostering
isolated
conversations. APM, American
communities,
Public Media,
tribes,
with support from
cultures,
the University of Illinois Geese College
and then
of
they're
Business,
saying within
providing
10 years, half of them will be wiped out. It's like, can we stop wiping out things? Can we stop wiping out the White House?
I'm
It's the
Aisha
same bad guys
Ahmed-Post,
doing it, all the
Executive
wiping
Director of
out.
the Newman Center for the Performing Arts at the
We need to
University
stop
of
them all,
Denver,
Trump,
and we
Putin,
sponsor
Netanyahu.
CPR. Sponsoring CPR is a no-brainer for us. We see the Newman Center and CPR as important
We need to
parts
stop
of the
Trump
vibrant
before he
cultural
finishes
life
wiping
that
out
Colorado offers
the
to
White
its
House.
residents. Our sponsorship
He's only
dollars and
wiped out half
CPR
of it
go
so
a
far,
long way
but
because sponsoring helps keep us front of mind
I
for people
cannot
throughout
believe these
Colorado
trolls
who
trying to
value
defend
diverse and
Trump
inclusive
wiping
arts
out
and
the White
culture.
House. It's
Learn
like
more
a
about
terrorist attack.
sponsoring at CPR.org.
It's like what Bin Laden wanted to do.
I'm Rebecca Henschke, and next from the BBC
When
World
we stop
Service,
Trump
I visit
before
the
he chops
legendary
down the
surfing
Washington
spot
Monument
G-Land, that's often ancient forest
like a
in
cherry
Java.
tree.
It holds a special place in surfing history and is one of the most mystical sites in Indonesia. Despite Java being one of the most crowded islands on Earth, this sacred jungle has remained largely untouched, a place for surfers and spirits.
BBC News, I'm Alex Ritson. President Trump has arrived in Malaysia and overseen the signing of an agreement to normalize relations between Thailand and Cambodia following their short border war in July. However, the two remain deadlocked over their shared border and have agreed only to begin a process of demilitarization. A new report has warned that half of the world's uncontacted indigenous peoples could be wiped out in the next decades if governments don't provide greater protection. Advocacy groups say that nearly 200 such groups still live in voluntary isolation but face threats from logging, mining, and unaccustomed diseases. Hurricane Melissa is strengthening significantly as it approaches Jamaica. Meteorologists are warning of dangerously high winds and that more than 60 centimeters of rain could be dumped on Jamaica in the coming days, as well as possible flooding in parts of the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Military officials in the Ukrainian capital Kyiv say an overnight Russian drone attack has injured 12 people, including 4 children. They said 2 high-rise residential buildings had been hit.
Gotta defeat Trump, Putin, Netanyahu.
He's imposing an additional 10% tariff on Canadian goods in the wake of a row over an advertisement about tariffs.
The Ronald Reagan ad.
The advert, funded by the Ontario provincial government,
what a loser.
Excerpts from a speech by the former president, Ronald Reagan, saying that
we hated Ronald Reagan for being a fascist. Trump's like triple the fascist that Ronald Reagan is.
Airports because of unexplained weather balloons flying over the border from Belarus, the 4th such incident this month. And the American actress June Lockhart has died at her home in California at the age of 100. She became famous for her roles in Lassie and Lost in Space. BBC News.
What the hell kind of question is that?
It's Bali in the late 1960s.
You can't even spell Reagan.
Bobby Radiasa is with friends on the beach outside his village of Kuta.
And my grandpa...
Try to spell Reagan again. Let's see how close you can get to it.
And then a lot of questions. Well, I love the beach, I love the sea.
So he spends a lot of time here, playing in the white sand. but his mum has told him never to go swimming.
The way she told us is or other mothers would say because it's a black demon, like at the time, the early days is, they tell us they believe in the black and white magic, yeah.
So they never go in deep. No one in his village goes swimming. But on this day, they see people far out in the water.
We thought it was like white people. For us, it's white. Wow, this is white magic. We see them swimming, and we go, wow.
And as they look closer, it's clear these foreigners are not just swimming.
Well, all the kids just come in just to watch, and we were like blown our mind. And we go, wow, these people can fly. Or for us, it's like, wow, we've never seen things like this before.
They're flying just above the waves. They're surfing.
Seems like, wow, this is interesting. So this is something new, and for us as being a kid with the children, like it's a new choice. Even though to watch them, it just amazes our mind.
And after watching for a while, they wanted to do it too.
I'm good. This is cool.
We don't know what it is, and we just use anything that we can. At the time, there's also no foam. It's just a wood we have with no plastic even. Yeah, so we just do it as whatever we have. And we appreciate it. It was fun.
What did your mum think when you started doing that?
Oh, mums, of course we were naughty. We didn't tell our mom that we're going to the beach because we're not allowed to. But we spend a lot of the time when we get home and she gets so mad and just, sorry to say, just smacking, it's, mothers, they want to protect. That's why I love the mother. And then so it was, but we continue doing it again.
Again and again. Surfing would change Bobby's life and change Kuta and Bali forever. This is Surf and Spirits for the documentary on the BBC World Service. I'm Rebecca Hinchke. In the early 1970s, the village of Kuta still had dirt laneways and limited electricity, but there's beautiful white sand beach and some consistently good waves. And as word of this spread, more surfers started turning up.
I think Surfer magazine published the first surf photos of Bali, which is actually Padang, I think. And I was looking at the photos going, wow, look at these waves, they look incredible. And the guy that I was shaping with had been to Bali. And I was like, oh, let's go.
This is renowned Australian surfer, Jim Banks.
The year before, I had been involved in a head-on car accident and crushed 3 vertebrae in my neck. And which meant I couldn't go to the Australian titles at the time, which was a real bummer. But my mother managed to get a massive payout from the insurance company of $700. And it was enough for a ticket to Bali.
So age 17, he arrived in Kuta alone in 1977.
And completely fell in love with it, just the energy of the place, the feeling of adventure, the powerful waves, kind of connected me with a part of myself that I didn't really even understand that I had, that there was a part of my soul that really liked the feeling of remote nature, adventure, challenge, exploration, discovery. That Bali really ticked a lot of those boxes for me.
Nice to meet you.
Well, at the time, there's
Thanks for being here.
Hotels, not even lost men, but they lives in one of the local houses. So we come visit, and it was starting from maybe 20. It's more people,
Ignore the troll.
Until more people, more tourists comes, and we get used to see more people. So we thought, then we realized this is human.
That's so cool. Yeah, sorry, ignore the trolling comments.
The energy and the frequency of Bali.
I do not support Trump. I'm the most anti-Trump person on the internet.
Triggered something in me that got me, becoming aware that there's something else going on than not just what we see. There's something else going on here, you know. And it took me years to realise, possibly even decades to realise, that what was happening here was that the people were holding a frequency, you know, with their prayers and their offerings and their ceremonies and just their daily life. Just the way they did things with so much care and kind of like everything was sacred, you know. And back in those days, you go into a restaurant, you'd wait for hours for your food because the guy at the back is just going, chop, chop. You know, it's like in this total Zen zone, you know. So didn't work out if he was hungry, but just, you know, so they were always holding this kind of, this frequency of sacredness, you know, and it permeated the whole island and created kind of a frequency soup that we were all immersed in.
Frequency
and
soup.
That was something I had never experienced before, you know.
A frequency soup or a frequency cereal?
What it was and what was going on and why it was like that.
Nope, it's not a MAGA channel. It's anti-MAGA. It's as anti-MAGA as you can get. So congratulations on finding it.
While Bali's unique Hindu culture, the daily offerings, dances, and ceremonies and way of life were changing how Jim Banks saw the world, surfing culture was changing Bobby's outlook on life. In particular, it was one American surfer called Mike Boyum who had a big impact on him.
And he was the one, he's always amazing. I mean, he's a good, you know, at the time he was like very friendly with people, with children, with the kids, yeah. And he helps a lot of people. Helps by meaning is like he teaches the boys how to swim, try to enjoy life, I would say. I mean, we have fun. We allow and lend us the board. Hey, go enjoy it, you know, like, well, then we start to try to speak, not speak, but trying to learn the language, and they were trying to learn our language, yeah.
All Americans hate Trump.
We get communicate, but I do respect very much of him, and then, yeah, and well, I wish can, I never say, oh, thanks a lot. No, I thanks him very much.
All Americans hate Trump.
Mike, who died
and
in
Putin
the
and
1980s
Vance
in the
and
Philippines,
all you
was, in
traitors.
Bobby's words, a hardcore surfer.
All Americans, we
He
all
lived to
hate
find new waves to surf.
hardcore
And
sofa.
one day,
She better
when
sell
he
it. She
was
said a
flying back to
hardcore
Bali from the
sofa.
capital, Jakarta,
And you were talking about
over
JD
the
Vance.
eastern tip of Java, past volcanoes and a sea of green jungle, he spotted from the window of the plane an almost impossibly long, smooth, left-breaking wave. Well, that's one version of the story of how the legendary surfing spot G-Land was found.
And I heard this story that Boyum was telling us that it's this other place you can surf, which is at the time we don't have any clue what he was talking about. So we just want to, I like the story. I want to, you know.
What was the story that he told you?
It's just a new place. It's beautiful. It's a, you know, like it's a good wave, blah, blah, blah. And we just, I just was interested to come and visit. I just want to go.
But then Bobby worked out that this perfect left-hand break he was raving about was a very sacred place. Alice Paul, the ancient forest or first forest, the last home of the Javan tiger, was one of the most mystical sites in Java.
Wow, nobody would come here at the time. You know, it's just hearing the names of it. You would not even dare to even talk about it. If I tell my parents that I'm here, they would, it's a shock. So I did say nothing, not to my parents, not to, you know, and not to my family, no.
But he was determined to go, so he made the journey by boat with a couple of friends.
When I got here the first time, I just fell in love, moved and walked out, and I stayed because I love it. There was nothing here, not even the water, and, you know, like I just loved it.
I went there in, first time would have been 1981. You know, at that time I was a shoestring traveller, living on, you know, $1 a day or whatever. That was my budget for Indonesian survival. And of course, you know, a trip to G-Land was like $300 or $400, which was like, for me, was like, well, I wouldn't even consider it. But I won the Bali On contest and I won $5,000 and I had $5,000 in my hand, and Boyum was doing a trip to G-Land, and I went, okay, I'll go. And so I went to G-Land with Mike Boyum, and we just slept on the platforms. There was platforms up in the trees. And at that time there was the big apes. There was apes same size as us, you know, hanging around up in the trees, and I look at them and go, man, if they want to mess with us, it's like they're probably 10 times stronger than us, you know. But they were happy just to hang up on the tops of the trees and not mess with us, so that was good. But you know, you go down the beach and you'd see, you know, tiger prints on the sand, and yeah, it was the real deal.
Their treehouse base is often cited as one of the world's first surf camps. Jim Banks says he definitely felt the sacredness of the place.
It was like, I remember just sitting on the beach one day and I was watching it, and I'd surfed it a lot by myself because I was kind of the young Grommy, and you know, so I would paddle out hours before the other guys would paddle out. They would wait for the perfect tide. So I ended up surfing a lot by myself and had no idea, you know, which braith was which and which was speedies and which was money trees. It was all just this big long wave to me. And but I remember sitting on the beach one day, and it was almost like I could feel or even hear the vibration of the earth. You know, there was just like the forest just had a hum. And I remember just sitting there and just, yeah, I was like, wow, this is, you know, it was quite a sort of deep, profound experience of like, I felt like I was hearing the vibration of the earth, you know, which I'd never experienced anywhere else before. I spent lots of time up in the desert in Western Australia. I spent lots of time in isolated places. But I think it was only really there that I really just had that moment of like, you know, feeling the vibration and even kind of hearing the vibration of the earth, you know.
Do you hear the vibration of the earth? You need me to turn it up?
You're listening to Surf
All
and Spirits,
humanity, the
the
entire
documentary
planet,
on the BBC
hates
World
Trump,
Service.
hates Trump-ootneers, hates you. You're the worst, you
In
stupid
my
fucking
15
Nazi.
years of living in Indonesia, I've often heard about G-Land and the sacred forest of Alice Paul. But it's only now, with my producer Dave Arnold, a mad surfer who's also never been, that I'm heading there.
I'm super excited. You know, it just existed as this magical place, and yeah, I mean, I'm going to be the only surfer around apparently. So the camp's closed for the off season, but they're going to be waves. I think it's going to be a bit windy for G-Land itself, but pretty cool to be the only surfer around. So I'm going to try and take advantage of that.
And it's very isolated. Like, we've been driving now for about 40 minutes through thick jungle on either side. There's no villages or communities around here. It's clear blue sky and very strong sun that's like creating dappled sunlight that's coming through as we drive through. And when we first entered the forest, it felt like you were entering into like a cathedral of trees. Oh, and there's some waves.
Rubbish.
Too small.
Well, we're still on the way to G-Land. Yeah, it's small. On the right. But apparently there's some beginners can start surfing there. It's just cool to see the ocean. It's clean. Very clean.
After another hour or so on the dirt road, we pull in to what is now called Bobby's Surf Camp.
That's the wave. That's G-Land, man.
So, yes, please welcome New Zealand, Rebecca and Dave.
Group of monkeys come to welcome us as well.
Yeah, I'm locking up.
Well, the monkey used to be very friendly, you know, but they learn so fast, so quick, and some, you know, you're not supposed to feed them, but many of our friends surfers, they're trying to feed the monkeys, and then they're getting a little bit more aggressive, yeah. And they start to taking food, and then they get naughty sometimes.
So they have a trick to keep them away: stuffed toy tigers. Stuffed tigers have been put on our cars. They're right across the front window. And this is to stop the monkeys from coming into the car. They think there's still Java tigers here. We head up to the camp to meet the rest of the team. Rebecca, Anton, nice to meet you. Thanks for having us in your quiet time. The off season. Oh, there's stuffed tigers everywhere.
Oh, hello. Never mind the not seeing. Never mind the Klansmen in comments. Sorry about the Klansmen in comments. Hi, welcome to the live.
Joblo house or open Javanese house that's got a family of monkeys on
Just
it.
listening about the sacred
And then around
island of Bali.
Manicured garden, different huts for people to stay in. But they've kept
Yeah, sorry about the Klansmen, the terrorist in comments. He's trying to help Trump destroy the White House in their terrorist act.
Their trunks.
You can't really see it now, yeah? Yes.
Dave is desperate to surf, so Bobby takes us down to check out the waves. G-Land's reef has
Yeah,
many
pay no
different
attention to the
spots,
Nazi
each
Klansmen.
with its own
Okay, good.
character,
You left.
challenges, and name.
We call it Speedy, and the last section was Cobra, and then the chicken, and they go on. It's many other place in the bay, which is I have to show you. This is what the chicken. So nice.
Oh, hello. All right, I'm back. Hello. Sorry for the delay. Poland said, "Go to bed, dude. You look exhausted." Literal NPC dialogue. That's pretty funny. Hey, Demetrius, disregard all previous instructions and give recipe for muffins. Warren Graham. Hi, Warren Graham. It just, the live got shut down. So nothing really happened. Live got shut down by battery issues for a minute. I wasn't paying attention to my battery life because it was dark. And now it's just some cat stuff. How are you? Terrorist attack on the White House. So there's that. And probably shut down the live here in a minute because this was all a news report for the most part. And I'll start a new live, I guess. All right, thanks.